My parents didn't bill me for graduation. They extorted me. The invoice arrived. May 8th, 10:47 p.m. Itemized Excel sheet, Dad's email signature. Graduation expenses reimbursement. Venue parking $45. Family dinner $950. Gift $350. Hotel stay $755. Total due $2,100. Venmo by Friday. I'd paid my own tuition. Now I owed them for attending. 3 days later, I opened my sister's wedding album, the one that cost $185,000. Every check stub Mom had accidentally sent me instead of her. Venue, $45K. Dress, $8K. Flowers, $12K. All paid, all gifted, all documented. I forwarded both my invoice, her checks to our family group chat. 37 relatives saw the math simultaneously. Mom's phone died from notifications. Dad's law firm partners started asking questions. You can't invoice one child while bankrolling another once everyone's accountant sees the receipts. The acceptance email arrived on a Tuesday morning, and I read it 7 times before believing it was real. Congratulations, Jordan Matthews. We are pleased to offer you admission. Full ride. Academic scholarship. $18,000 per year. Renewable with a 3.5 gigapascals. The kind of opportunity my parents promised would change everything when I was 12 and winning my first science fair. Study hard, Dad had said, gripping my shoulder while I held that plastic trophy. Get into a good school, and we'll be there when you succeed. I'd held on to those words through 4 years of AP courses and 50-hour work weeks. My hands shook as I dialed home. Mom answered on the 4th ring. Jordan? It's 7 in the morning. I got in. My voice cracked. Full academic scholarship. I got in. Silence stretched across the line. Not stunned silence. Distracted silence. That's wonderful, honey. Her tone was pleasant, flat. Your father and I are so proud. I wanted to tell you first. Maybe we could celebrate? Dinner somewhere? Actually, sweetie, can I call you back? Claire just walked in, and she has something to tell us. The line went dead. I sat there staring at my phone, acceptance email glowing on my laptop. My first instinct wasn't anger. It was the question I'd been asking since childhood. What did I do wrong this time? When Mom called back 3 hours later, I already knew. Jordan, you'll never believe it, Claire got into Riverside Community College. We're taking her to Carmine's tonight to celebrate. Riverside had open enrollment. You didn't get in. You signed up. But they were taking her to Carmine's, the Italian place downtown with $100 stakes. What about my scholarship? The words came out smaller than intended. Oh, honey, we'll do something for that too. Maybe Applebee's this weekend? I have a coupon. Applebee's, with a coupon, for a full ride to a top 30 university. Sure, I heard myself say. Sounds great. The Applebee's celebration never happened. When I brought it up the following weekend, Mom looked confused, like she'd forgotten entirely. That's when I started understanding the math I'd been too young to calculate before. The science fair victory at 12 had earned me an Applebee's gift card and a photo on the fridge displaced 2 weeks later by Claire's participation trophy from soccer. Mom threw a Chuck E. Cheese party for that participation trophy, 40 kids, $400 minimum. When I turned 16, I'd asked about driver's ed. That's $800 we don't have right now, Dad said, not looking up. You understand. 3 months later, Claire turned 16. They bought her a car. A certified pre-owned Honda Civic with heated seats. $15,000, paid in full. Claire hugged them, crying. You're the best parents in the world. I took the bus for 2 more years. Spring breaks during college told the same story. Claire went to Cancun twice, Miami once, Turks and Caicos senior year trips funded by early graduation gifts, and you only live once philosophies that didn't extend to me. I spent spring breaks working double shifts, stacking paychecks against textbook costs. You're so responsible, Mom said once. Claire could learn from you. But Claire never had to learn. She had a safety net. I had discipline born from necessity. By senior year, I'd stopped expecting equity. I'd graduated from hoping for it around sophomore year, right when Claire's engagement photos flooded every group chat and Mom started sentences with, "when Claire gets married," instead of, "if." The wedding planning consumed 18 months. I was invited to one event, bridesmaid dress selection, where I learned my dress cost $380. I worked an extra Saturday shift to cover it. I sent the graduation invitation anyway. Cream cardstock, embossed lettering, handwritten note. "Please come. This means everything to me." Mom texted back, "We'll be there." I believed it. Right up until graduation morning, I believed it. The wedding planning started spring of my junior year, which meant it consumed my last 18 months of college like a black hole swallowing light. Claire got engaged over Thanksgiving proposal on a Maui beach, photographer hidden in palm trees, ring costing more than my sophomore year meal plan. The proposal video went viral in our family group chat. 63 messages in 40 minutes. I'd sent, "Congratulations, so happy for you." No one responded to mine, but the thread continued for 3 days. By December, Mom had assembled a 3-ring binder embossed with "Claire's Big Day" in gold script, dividers by category, venue, catering, flowers, photography, dress, invitations. 2 inches thick and growing. "How's school?" Mom asked over winter break, flipping through fabric swatches. "Good. Made Dean's List again." "Claire, what do you think, blush or champagne tablecloths?" Claire held up 2 identical squares. "Champagne is more elegant." "Perfect." Mom made a note. "Jordan, honey, get me coffee." I got the coffee. Tried again. "I'm applying for that research position, the robotics lab. Could lead to publication." "That's nice, sweetie." Mom didn't look up. "Claire, save the dates. Your father thinks magnets, but I'm worried about cost." "How much are magnets?" Claire asked. $2 each, 200 guests. $400 for magnets. I thought about the ramen packages stacked in my dorm, 24 cents each. The budget became clear by accident. I came home for spring break and overheard Dad on the phone in his office. "Yes, we'll need to pull from the investment account. If we take out $190,000, what does that leave us?" A pause. "That's fine. We've been saving for Claire's wedding since she was born. This is what it's for." Since she was born. 23 years of compound interest, dedicated to one day. I tried to remember if they'd ever mentioned a college fund for me. I couldn't. Just under 200,000 became the family catchphrase. Mom said it to book club friends, voice tinged with pride and stress. Trying to keep it under 200,000. But you know how these things snowball. Dad said it to golf buddies, laughing. 200 grand for one day, but she's worth it. Claire said it to no one, because Claire didn't know. She thought 12,000 for flowers was standard. That an $8,000 Kleinfeld dress was normal. She'd grown up in a different family than I had. In Claire's family, parents said, "Yes," and "We'll make it work," and "Nothing's too good for our baby girl." In mine, they said, "We can't afford that, and maybe next year." And you understand, don't you, Jordan? I understood. Love looked like itemized budgets for me, blank checks for her. Senior year was worse. The wedding was 5 months after my graduation, which meant planning crescendoed when I was surviving on 4 hours of sleep and applying to jobs. I'd get emails, bridesmaid duties, and pre-wedding events calendar. Lists of expenses. Dress, $380. Bridal shower, $75. Bachelorette weekend, $400. Hair and makeup, $150. Gift, $100 minimum, $1,205 total. I was eating buttered pasta, but expected to find $1,200 to participate. I called Mom, desperate. "I don't know if I can afford all this." "Jordan, this is your sister's wedding. It happens once in a lifetime." I know, but I'm still paying off textbooks. Everyone has expenses. You'll figure it out. You always do. I always did. Because I had to. I picked up a third tutoring client, sold my laptop, skipped meals, made it work. 3 weeks before graduation, Mom called. Quick question. Can you photograph serveware at Bed Bath & Beyond? Claire needs registry photos. I had a presentation due in 12 hours. Can it wait? The sale ends tonight, 10 minutes. It took 45. I finished my presentation at 2 a.m. Got a B plus instead of my A average. Mom texted next day. Thanks. Decided on a different pattern anyway, lol. Graduation morning arrived with devastating clarity. I woke at 6, showered, stood in front of my mirror practicing gratitude. They were coming. They'd said they were coming. 2 hours of their time, then they'd leave for Claire's dress fitting. That was enough. It had to be enough. The cap and gown felt like ceremony and costume, cheap polyester transforming me into something official. Something worth witnessing. I arrived 90 minutes early. Checked my phone. No messages. 9:15 a.m., nothing. The auditorium filled slowly. Families clustered near entrances, straightening collars, taking photos. The air smelled like flowers and anticipation. I'd reserved 4 seats, front section, aisle access, perfect view, placed programs on each one. By 9:45, my hands were shaking. I texted Mom, "Are you close?" 9:52 a.m. Running late. Traffic bad. The processional music started at 10. I walked into that auditorium with 237 other graduates. Scanned the crowd like a prayer. Rows of unfamiliar faces. Signs with names that weren't mine. Balloons. Cameras. Tears. 4 empty seats. They weren't coming. I knew it before I let myself know it, the way you know you've failed before grades post. They weren't coming. The ceremony passed in fractured images. Names called. Applause. I walked across the stage when they said, Jordan Matthews. The sound that followed was polite. General clapping because clapping is expected, not because anyone knew me. No one screamed my name. No one held up a sign. I shook the dean's hand, accepted the empty diploma cover, returned to my seat. 4 empty chairs mocking me. Around me, families erupted. A girl 2 rows ahead had 15 people stand and cheer. 15. I counted. I had 4 empty seats, and a text about traffic. The reception happened in a blur. People hugged their parents, took photos, cried. I stood near the refreshment table, holding a cookie I couldn't eat, watching. My phone buzzed at 11:47 a.m. Mom, so sorry we missed it. Traffic was a nightmare. We'll make it up to you. Love you. Missed it. Like a dentist appointment. Something reschedulable. I stared at that message until the words stopped meaning anything. Then I noticed the timestamp on an earlier text I'd missed. Dad, sent at 9:20 a.m. Actually, if we leave now, we'll hit worse traffic later. Claire's fitting is at 2. We should probably just head straight there. You understand. 9:20 a.m. 40 minutes before the ceremony started. They hadn't been stuck in traffic. They'd made a choice. I left at 1:30 p.m., still in cap and gown, and sat in my car. The sun was too bright. Families streamed past, laughing, loading cars with balloons. I pulled up my banking app, a habit from years of checking before every purchase. Available balance, $847. I'd done it. 4 years, debt-free, scholarships and shifts and 60-hour weeks. And they couldn't give me 2 hours. I drove home, hung the gown in my closet, ordered pizza. Ate it alone. Fell asleep at 7 p.m. The invoice arrived 3 days later. I was brushing my teeth when my phone lit up. Email. Dad's name. Subject line. Graduation expenses. My hands were still wet when I opened it. Jordan, hope you had a great day Saturday. We're sorry we couldn't make it. Traffic was impossible, and Claire's fitting couldn't be rescheduled. That said, we did incur several expenses related to your graduation, and given that we funded Claire's wedding entirely, we think it's fair you cover your own event costs. Please see attached invoice. Venmo payment appreciated by end of week. Love, Dad. The attachment loaded. Graduation expenses. Jordan Matthews. Venue parking permit purchased. Unused. $45. Family dinner reservation deposit. Cancelled. $950. Graduation gift picture frame. Purchased. $350. Null. Hotel room one night. Cancelled. $755. 0. Total due. $2,100. I read it 4 times. My father, a lawyer making 6 figures, driving a leased BMW, was invoicing me for expenses related to an event they'd chosen not to attend. They'd bought parking for a venue they'd skipped, made a reservation they'd canceled, purchased a frame I'd never received, booked a hotel they'd never used, and now I owed them $2,100 for their non-attendance. The Venmo request came through 12 minutes later. Robert Matthews Jr. is requesting $2,100 for graduation expenses. I stared at Dad's profile, picture him and Claire at her engagement party, both smiling. Something in me that had been bending for years snapped clean through. I stared at that Venmo request for 47 minutes. The screen dimmed twice. I tapped it back to life both times, rereading the amount like it might change if I blinked hard enough. 2,200 yuan. For graduation expenses. For an event they didn't attend. My brain kept trying to make it make sense. Maybe there was context I was missing. Maybe this was some kind of accounting error, or Dad had sent it to the wrong person, or there was an explanation that would transform this from cruelty into misunderstanding. But the line items were too specific, too detailed. Parking permit. Purchased and unused. Dinner reservation. Cancelled. Picture frame. Purchased but never given. Hotel room. Booked but never occupied. They'd planned to come. Made reservations. Spent money. And then they'd chosen Claire's dress fitting instead. And now I owed them for that choice. I couldn't sleep. At 3 a.m., I opened my laptop and pulled up my bank account. Looked at the numbers I'd been tracking obsessively for 4 years. Every deposit from the bookstore. Every withdrawal for textbooks and groceries. The slow, steady accumulation of a life built without help. If I paid them, I'd have negative $1,200. Overdraft fees. Late rent. No groceries for 2 weeks minimum. I'd survived 4 years without asking them for anything. And now they wanted $2,100 for the privilege of not showing up. My hands were shaking. I closed the banking app and opened Instagram instead, seeking distraction. Scrolled past friends' graduation photos. Families clustered together, arms around shoulders, smiles that weren't performance. Then I saw it. Claire's Instagram story from 3 days ago, the day of my graduation, posted at 11:34 a.m., right when I'd been standing at that reception, alone, holding a cookie I couldn't eat. The photo showed Claire in a wedding dress, Mom dabbing her eyes with a tissue, both of them glowing. Location tag, Kleinfeld's bridal. Caption, Mom crying at my dress fitting is everything. Worth the wait. Worth the wait. They'd been there at 11:34. The dress fitting that supposedly started at 2. I checked the timestamp again. Checked my text from Mom. So sorry we missed it. Traffic was a nightmare. 11:47 a.m. 13 minutes after Claire posted from the bridal salon. They hadn't been stuck in traffic. They'd been at the fitting. While I was graduating. While I was standing alone at a reception designed for celebration. And Mom had texted me her apology from the same building where she was crying happy tears over Claire's dress. Something cold settled in my chest. I scrolled back through Claire's Instagram. Found another story from that morning. Posted at 9:43 a.m. Claire and Mom in the car. Claire holding a Starbucks cup. Caption, Bridal appointment day. Mom and I are both crying already. 9:43 a.m. My ceremony had started at 10. They'd already been on their way to the bridal salon. Already chosen. The text from Dad, the one sent at 9:20 saying they should head straight there, hadn't been a last-minute decision. It had been the plan all along. They'd never intended to come. They'd made reservations to create a paper trail, to have expenses they could bill me for later, to turn my graduation into a transaction where I owed them for their absence. My stomach lurched. I ran to the bathroom and dry heaved over the toilet, nothing coming up but bile and the bitter taste of understanding. When I came back, the Venmo request was still glowing on my phone screen. Dad's profile picture, him and Claire at her engagement party, smiling at me like a taunt. I thought about my last 18 months. Claire's wedding consuming every conversation, every phone call derailed, every text thread hijacked. The $1,200 I'd scraped together to participate as a bridesmaid while eating buttered pasta for dinner. And now, this. I opened my photos and started scrolling, looking for something, though I wasn't sure what. Found it 3 months back. A screenshot I'd taken by accident. A group text between Mom, Dad, and Claire that I'd been included on by mistake before being removed 30 seconds later. Mom, we need to keep the wedding budget under $190K. Already at 160 and still have florals and photography. Dad, we'll make it work. She's worth every penny. Claire, you guys are the best. $190,000 for one day. And they were invoicing me for $2,100. I made a decision. I wasn't paying. But I needed to know exactly what I was refusing to pay for. The next afternoon, I drove to my parents' house. Mom had texted that morning about book club. She'd be gone from 2 to 5. Dad worked until 6 on Thursdays. Claire lived 20 minutes away with her fiancé. I had the house to myself. I told myself I was just picking up some old textbooks I'd stored in the garage, that I wasn't snooping, that I had every right to be there. But my hands shook as I unlocked the door with the spare key I'd never returned. The living room looked the same as always. Cream-colored couches, family photos on the mantel, mostly Claire. A few of me mixed in like obligatory filler. The coffee table held a stack of wedding magazines and a leather-bound album embossed with Claire and Michael. I shouldn't look. I looked. The album was thick, expensive, filled with engagement photos and planning documentation, the kind of keepsake that cost $300 minimum. I flipped through pages of Claire and Michael at sunset, on beaches, in fields of wildflowers, and then I reached the back pocket. Envelopes, tucked into the sleeve like bookmarks. My heart hammered as I pulled them out. Receipts, contracts, canceled checks. The first one made my stomach drop. Rosewood Estate. Final payment. Date: March 15th. Amount: $45,000. Balance: $0. $45,000. For the venue. Paid in full. I kept flipping. Giovanni's Catering. Deposit plus balance. Guest count: 200. Menu: premium selection. Total: $28,500. Kleinfeld's bridal. Receipt: dress: $8,400. Alterations: $650. Veil: $890. Null. Total: $9,940. I pulled out my phone with shaking hands and started photographing every document. Moonlight florists, final invoice. Ceremony arrangements, $7,200. Reception centerpieces, $4,800. Total: $12,000. Lasting impressions photography, 12-hour coverage, $9,500. The Madison String Quartet. Ceremony plus reception, $7,800. Each receipt felt like a punch. I'd eaten ramen for 4 years, while they'd spent $7,800 on a band. I'd skipped meals to afford textbooks while they'd spent $12,000 on flowers that would die in 3 days. I'd worked 50-hour weeks while they'd spent $9,400 on a dress Claire would wear once. My vision blurred. I kept photographing, kept counting. At the bottom of the stack, I found something else. A handwritten note on Mom's stationery, tucked into an envelope marked, "Wedding budget. Final." I unfolded it. Investment in Claire's happiness. Venue, $45,000. Catering, $28,500. Dress, $9,940. Flowers, $12,000. Photography, $9,500. Band, $7,800. Invitations, $3,200. Cake, $2,400. Hotel block, $8,600. Rehearsal dinner, $6,200. Hair, makeup, $3,400. Videography, $5,800. Transportation, $4,200. Favors, $1,800. Misc, $12,460. Total, $160,800. Remaining budget, $29,200. Final total estimate, $185,000, $190,000. I read that first line again. Investment in Claire's happiness. Investment. Like it was a stock portfolio. A retirement fund. Something that would generate returns. My chest felt hollow. I thought about my graduation invoice. $2,100 for expenses related to an event they'd skipped. Expenses that included a picture frame I'd never received. They'd spent $185,000 on Claire's wedding, and they'd invoiced me for graduation parking. I sat on their living room floor, surrounded by receipts, and did math I didn't want to do. Pulled up my phone, opened a blank note, started typing. Claire's column. Wedding. $185,000. Estimated. Final. Car at 16, $15,000. Car insurance ages 16 to 23. Paid by parents, $4,200. Spring break trips, 4 years, $8,000. Apartment security deposit, $2,400. Bedroom furniture, $3,400. College tuition assistance, $6,000. Emergency funds, $4,200. Engagement party, $3,800. Total, $232,000. My column. Graduation invoice. -$2,100 owed to them. Birthday gifts averaged, age 18 to 22, $200. Emergency loan junior year, repaid with interest, $500. Holiday gifts, average, $300. Total received, $1,000. Total owed, -$2,100. Net, -$1,100. The differential wasn't just unfair, it was grotesque. $233,100. $233,100. That was the gap between their investment in Claire versus their investment in me. And they'd called it love. I photographed Mom's handwritten note, photographed every receipt, every contract, every canceled check. Then I put everything back exactly as I'd found it, locked the door behind me, and sat in my car for 20 minutes, hands gripping the steering wheel, breathing like I'd run a marathon. My phone buzzed. Dad, Jordan, haven't received your Venmo payment yet. Deadline is tomorrow. Please don't make this difficult. I looked at that text, looked at the photos on my phone, $185,000 in wedding expenses, and I started laughing. Not funny laughter, the kind that comes when the absurdity is so complete that your brain short-circuits. They wanted $2,100. They'd spent $233,000 on Claire, and they wanted me to pay them for not showing up to my graduation. I stopped laughing. Started planning. I didn't go home. I drove to the library instead, found a quiet corner, and opened my laptop. Created a new Excel spreadsheet. Titled it, Matthew's Family Financial Distribution, age 18 to 23. 2 columns, Claire's name on the left, mine on the right. And then I started filling in numbers. Claire's column came first. I had photographs of almost everything now, receipts, contracts, invoices. The things I didn't have hard evidence for, I estimated conservatively. If anything, I was underreporting. Claire, total parental investment. Wedding, final estimate, $185,000. I typed it slowly, letting the number sink in. Vehicle purchase, age 16, $15,000. Auto insurance, ages 16 to 2, 3 paid by parents, $4,200. Spring break, Cancun, freshman year, $2,200. Spring break, Miami sophomore year, $1,800. Spring break, Cancun again junior year, $2,100. Spring break, Turks and Caicos senior year, $2,900. Apartment security deposit plus first month, $4,600. Bedroom furniture set, graduation gift, $3,400. I paused, remembered more. College tuition assistance, when she struggled, $6,000. Emergency funds, various vet bills, car repairs, unexpected expenses, $4,200. Engagement party, hosted by parents, $3,800. The list kept growing. Each line item another breath knocked out of me. Sorority fees, sophomore year, $1,200. Study abroad supplement, $2,800. Laptop for college, $1,400. Textbooks, all 4 years, $2,400. Monthly allowance during college, $200. Month X 48 months, $9,600. I'd forgotten about the allowance. Claire had mentioned it once, casually. Mom and Dad send me $200 a month for groceries and stuff. I'd been working 50 hours a week. She'd been getting an allowance. Rent assistance, ages 22 to 2. 3 parents paid half, $800. Month X, 18 months, $14,400. Claire's total, $266,600. I stared at that number. $266,600. Over 5 years. That was more than most people's houses. My column took 3 minutes. Jordan, total parental investment. Birthday gifts, ages 18 to 2, 2 averaged $40, year, $200. Christmas gifts, ages 18 to 2, 2 averaged $60, year, $300. Emergency loan. Junior year, repid with 5% interest, $500. Applebee's gift card, high school graduation, $25. Care packages during college, estimated value, 4 total, $180. I typed the last line slowly. Graduation expenses invoiced, to Jordan, -$2,000, $100. Jordan's total, -$895, -$895. They hadn't invested in me, they'd invoiced me. I added a third row at the bottom, differential, $267,495, $267,495. That was the gap between their investment in Claire and their investment in me. The difference between beloved child and tolerated obligation. I sat there in the library, fluorescent lights humming overhead, and felt something crack open in my chest. Not sadness, not anymore. Clarity. For years, I'd told myself I was being too sensitive, that I should be grateful for my independence, that comparing myself to Claire was petty and small. But this wasn't comparison. This was documentation. This was math. And math didn't lie. I started scrolling back through my phone, looking at texts, emails, photos, reframing every memory through this new lens. The Applebee's coupon for my college acceptance, while Claire got Carmine's for community college enrollment. The bus pass for my 16th birthday, while Claire got a $15,000 car for hers. the "we can't afford that right now" every time I'd asked for help. While Claire's wedding binder grew 2 inches thick with paid invoices. Every "you're so independent" that really meant "we're not investing in you." Every "you understand, don't you?" that really meant "we don't value you enough to sacrifice for." I'd understood, all right. I'd understood that love was conditional, that it came with a price tag, that some children were worth a $250,000 investment and others were worth a $2,100 invoice. My phone buzzed. Mom. Hi, honey. Haven't heard from you since graduation. How are you? We miss you. I looked at that text. Looked at the spreadsheet glowing on my screen. Looked at the photographs of wedding receipts saved on my phone. They missed me. They'd spent $267,000 more on Claire than on me, invoiced me for their absence at my graduation, and now they missed me. I typed a response. I'm good. Actually working on a project. Talk soon. Deleted it. Typed again. Did you get a chance to cancel that graduation invoice? The $2,100 one? Sent it before I could second guess myself. The response came 30 seconds later. Mom. Oh, honey, that's between you and your father. But yes, he's expecting payment by tomorrow. It's only fair we spent so much on Claire's wedding. And we did make all those reservations for your graduation. Only fair. I read those 2 words until they stopped meaning anything. Then I opened my contacts. Scrolled to Morgan's name. My best friend since sophomore year. The one who'd listened to me rationalize my parents' behavior for 3 years. The one who'd offered to come to my graduation when I'd mentioned, casually, that my family might not make it. I'd said no. Said I didn't want to be a burden. I pressed call. Morgan answered on the first ring. Jordan? You okay? I need to talk, I said. Can I come over? Always. I'll open wine. I closed my laptop, gathered my things, and walked out of the library into the late afternoon sun. The spreadsheet was saved. The photos were backed up. And for the first time in 4 years, I had evidence that I wasn't crazy. I had proof. Morgan's apartment smelled like garlic and wine when I arrived at 7 p.m. She opened the door, took one look at my face, and pulled me inside. Okay, she said, guiding me to her kitchen table. Sit. Talk. I sat. Couldn't talk yet. She poured 2 glasses of wine, slid one across the table, and waited. I opened my laptop, turned it toward her. Let the spreadsheet speak for me. Morgan leaned forward, reading. Her expression shifted from curious to confused to horrified in the span of 30 seconds. $267,000, she said quietly. That's the difference? That's the difference. Jordan. She looked up at me. This is financial abuse. This is parentification and scapegoating. And she stopped, started again. Have you shown this to anyone else? Just you. My voice cracked. I didn't know who to trust. Morgan reached across the table, gripped my hand. You can trust me. And you need to understand something. This isn't normal. This isn't some parents play favorites. This is systematic financial discrimination. They invoiced me for my graduation. I know. I saw. Her jaw tightened. After spending nearly $200,000 on your sister's wedding. Jordan, they're billing you for expenses they incurred, choosing not to attend your graduation. Hearing someone else say it made it real. I'd been carrying this alone for so long, the comparisons, the dismissals, the slow accumulation of evidence that I wasn't valued, that having a witness felt like oxygen after suffocation. What do? I asked. Morgan sat back, thinking. First question, do you want to maintain a relationship with them? I'd been asking myself that for 3 days. I don't know, I said honestly. Part of me wants to believe there's an explanation, that if I just talk to them, they'll understand how much they've hurt me. And the other part? 1. The other part knows they'll gaslight me, tell me I'm being dramatic, that I'm ruining Claire's happiness by making everything about me. Morgan nodded slowly. Second question, what do you want out of this? Acknowledgement? Apology? Money back? I want them to see it, I said. The words came out fiercer than I expected. I want them to see exactly what they've done. I want documentation they can't deny. Then you need more than a spreadsheet, Morgan said. We spent the next 2 hours strategizing. Morgan asked questions I hadn't thought to ask. Can you get more documentation? Bank statements? Loan applications? Anything showing the wedding expenses versus your expenses? I have photos of wedding receipts from their house. Good. What about communication? Texts, emails, anything showing the pattern of favoritism? I pulled up my phone, started scrolling, found dozens. Mom's texts about Claire's wedding planning. Can you help with this? And, quick favor? And, just need 20 minutes. Compared with texts to me, hope school is good, and miss you. With no follow-up questions. Dad's emails were worse. Every single one was transactional. Need your new address for tax purposes. Updating emergency contacts. Your W-2 is in the mail. Not one asked how I was doing. This is evidence, Morgan said. Pattern evidence. It shows systematic difference in treatment. Is that illegal? I asked. Not criminally. Parents can favor one kid over another. There's no law against being shitty. But it matters for other reasons. She paused. Have you considered talking to a lawyer? About what? Suing my parents? Not necessarily suing, but getting legal advice about your options. If nothing else, a lawyer can tell you if that invoice is enforceable. I hadn't thought of that. You think I don't have to pay it? I think it's worth asking someone who knows the law. Because billing your adult child for graduation expenses, you voluntarily incurred expenses for an event you chose not to attend. That feels legally questionable to me. By 9 p.m., we'd made a plan. Step 1. Organize all evidence systematically. Photos, texts, emails. The spreadsheet. Step 2. Consult a lawyer. Morgan had a friend from college, Rebecca Chen, family law attorney. Step 3. Decide on confrontation method, public or private, family meeting or something bigger. This is going to change everything, Morgan warned. Once you show them this, there's no going back. Your relationship with your parents will never be the same. It's already not the same, I said. I just didn't have proof before. Morgan squeezed my hand again. Then, let's make sure they can't deny it. I left her apartment at 10 p.m. with a folder of printed evidence, 3 pages of notes, and something I hadn't felt in years. Hope. Not hope that they'd change. Hope that I could finally stop pretending this was normal. Rebecca Chen's office was downtown, 14th floor, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. I sat in her waiting room the following Tuesday, clutching my folder of evidence like a lifeline. Morgan had called ahead. She knows the situation, Morgan had said. She's expecting you. At 10:15 a.m., Rebecca emerged late 30s, sharp blazer, kind eyes. Jordan? Come on back. Her office was organized chaos. Law books, case files, framed degrees on the wall. She gestured to a chair across from her desk. Morgan filled me in on the basics, Rebecca said, settling into her chair. But I want to hear it from you. Start at the beginning. I told her everything. The graduation invoice, the wedding expenses, the spreadsheet, the $267,000 differential. Rebecca took notes, nodding occasionally, her expression neutral but focused. When I finished, she sat back. Okay, first thing you need to understand what your parents did isn't criminal. Parents have broad discretion in how they allocate resources between children. There's no law requiring equal financial distribution. My stomach sank. But, Rebecca continued, that doesn't mean you're without options. And it doesn't mean what they did is okay. What are my options? Rebecca ticked them off on her fingers. Option 1. Do nothing. Pay the invoice, maintain the relationship, accept the inequality. I don't recommend this. It sets a precedent that financial abuse is acceptable. What's option 2? Refuse to pay. The invoice isn't a legal debt. You didn't sign a contract agreeing to reimburse them. They can't sue you for expenses they voluntarily incurred on your behalf without your consent. They can't? Legally? No. They'd have to prove you agreed to pay them back. And even then, most judges would laugh them out of court. You can't bill someone for showing up to their graduation, or in this case, for not showing up. Relief flooded through me. Option 3, Rebecca said, is more aggressive. File for a restraining order if their behavior escalates into harassment. Document everything. Build a case for emotional and financial abuse if you need legal protection. Would that work? Depends on the judge and the evidence. What you have, she gestured to my folder, is compelling pattern evidence. It shows systematic financial discrimination and emotional manipulation. That matters. What about the money? I asked. The $267,000. Can I get any of it back? Rebecca's expression softened. Realistically? No. They weren't obligated to give you anything, which means you can't sue to recover funds they never owed you. It's morally bankrupt, but legally permissible. The words stung, but I'd expected them. So what should I do? That depends on your goal, Rebecca said. If you want to maintain the relationship, have a private conversation, show them the evidence, explain how their behavior affected you. If you want accountability and don't care about maintaining the relationship, make it public. Family meeting, group text, social media, whatever ensures they can't gaslight you later. How long would this take? I asked. If I go the legal route? Restraining order, if needed, takes a few weeks. Building a harassment case could take 6 to 8 months. But Jordan, Rebecca leaned forward. I think your best weapon here isn't legal action. It's truth. Document everything. Present it in a way they can't deny. Make it impossible for them to rewrite history. I left her office at 11:30 a.m., with a legal pad full of notes and a clear understanding. I couldn't sue them. Couldn't force them to pay me back. Couldn't make them love me equally. But I could make them see what they'd done. And I could make sure everyone else saw it too. I spent the next 3 weeks building something I'd never built before. An undeniable case. Not a legal case. A truth case. The kind of documentation that makes gaslighting impossible. Week 1. Evidence collection. I started with my phone. Went through every text message from the past 5 years. Saved the important ones to a folder labeled Family, Archive. Mom's messages about Claire's wedding. 247 texts over 18 months. Requests for help, updates, photos, questions. Average response time when I replied, 2.3 hours. Mom's messages about my life. 89 texts over the same period. Mostly, miss you, and hope you're well. No follow-up questions when I shared accomplishments. Average response time when I replied, 34 hours. I created a document, 2 columns, side by side. The numbers spoke louder than any essay I could write. Dad's emails were worse. I had 312 emails from him over 4 years. I sorted them by category. And financial, administrative. 287 emails. Tax forms, insurance updates, address changes. Personal. 18 emails, birthday wishes, holiday greetings. About Claire. 7 emails forwarding her achievements, wedding planning coordination. About me. 0 emails. 0. Not one email in 4 years asking how I was, what I was working on, if I needed anything. I documented it all. Week 2. Financial documentation. I requested my credit report. Checked for any unauthorized accounts or inquiries. Nothing there, at least they hadn't stolen my identity. Small mercies. I printed my bank statements from the past 4 years. Highlighted every tuition payment. Every textbook purchase. Every month of rent. Built a parallel timeline showing my self-sufficiency alongside Claire's dependence. Then I did something that felt dangerous. I called my bank. Hi, I need to verify some information about a family member's account. Is there a way to see if my parents added me as an authorized user or co-signer on anything without my knowledge? The representative checked. No, ma'am. You're not connected to any accounts under those names. Another relief. They'd neglected me, but they hadn't defrauded me. I gathered every receipt I'd photographed from their house, created a master spreadsheet with 3 tabs. Tab 1, Claire's wedding expenses, documented. 45 line items. $185,347 total. Tab 2, Claire's additional support, estimated. 23 line items. $81,253 total. Tab 3, My support. 8 line items. $1,205 total, plus the $2,100 invoice, making my net negative. I added a summary page, a single image that told the complete story. Total invested in Claire, $266,600. Total invested in Jordan, negative $895. Differential, $267,495. I saved it. Backed it up to 3 different cloud drives. This was evidence that couldn't be lost. Week 3. Witness coordination. Morgan was already on my side, but I needed more. I called my Aunt Linda, Mom's younger sister, the one who'd always seemed uncomfortable during family gatherings when Claire was the center of attention. Aunt Linda, it's Jordan. Can we talk? We met for coffee. I showed her the spreadsheet. She stared at it for 2 full minutes without speaking. I knew it was bad, she finally said, but I didn't know it was this bad. Did you ever say anything to them? Once, at Claire's engagement party. I asked your mom if she was helping you with college expenses the same way she'd helped Claire. She said, you preferred to be independent. I never said that. I know. Linda's expression hardened. I know you didn't, Jordan. Because independent 20-year-olds don't prefer it. They survive it. I had another ally. I called Uncle Tom, next Dad's older brother. The one who'd sent me $100 check for graduation with a note that said, proud of you, kid. Same conversation, same spreadsheet, same horrified reaction. Your father was always competitive, Tom said slowly. But I didn't realize he was playing favorites with his own kids. Did you notice at graduation that they weren't there? I noticed. I asked your dad about it later. He said they'd had a scheduling conflict. Tom paused. He didn't mention Claire's dress fitting, and he definitely didn't mention billing you for their absence. Would you be willing to back me up if I confront them? Jordan, I'll do more than that. I'll stand next to you and make sure they can't spin this. 3 allies now. By the end of week 3, I had 347 pages of printed evidence. A 12-slide presentation summarizing the financial disparity. Text message screenshots organized by theme. Email archives showing communication patterns. Photos of wedding receipts. My original spreadsheet, refined and color-coded. 3 family members willing to support me publicly. Legal consultation notes from Rebecca. A recorded backup of everything stored in 4 separate locations. I sat in my apartment, surrounded by folders and printouts, and felt something shift. For years, I'd been trying to prove I was worthy of their love. Now I had proof of the opposite, and I was done trying. Morgan came over that Saturday night, looked at the dining table covered in evidence. When are you doing this? She asked. Their 30th anniversary party, I said. 3 weeks from now, Claire's planning it, 80+ guests, all the family, all their friends. You're going public. I'm going nuclear. I looked at her. They wanted me to understand. They've been saying that for years. You understand, don't you, Jordan? Well, now I understand completely. And I'm going to make sure everyone else understands too. Morgan smiled grimly. I'll be there, front row, recording everything. Thank you. Don't thank me. She picked up a folder, flipped through wedding receipts. Thank you for finally fighting back. I sent the RSVP the next morning. I'll be there. And I'm bringing a presentation. I circled the date on my calendar with red marker. Saturday, 3 weeks away. My parents' 30th anniversary party. Claire had been planning it for months, booked the country club, hired caterers, sent invitations to 85 guests. Family, friends, Dad's law firm colleagues, Mom's book club, everyone who mattered to them. Everyone who needed to see the truth. Morgan came over that Tuesday night to help me finalize the presentation. "You're sure about this?" she asked, watching me arrange printed evidence into folders. "Once you do this, there's no taking it back." "I'm sure." I labeled another folder. Wedding receipts. $185,347. Your relationship with your parents will never recover. Morgan, there's nothing to recover. They invoiced me for my graduation. I held up the email, the one with the itemized list. This isn't a relationship. It's a transaction, where I always come up short. She nodded slowly. Okay. Then let's make sure it's airtight. We spent 3 hours organizing the presentation. 12 slides, each one a dagger. Title slide, The Matthews Family Investment Portfolio. Side by side, baby photos, May and Claire, equal and innocent. Claire's wedding expenses, $185,347. My graduation invoice, -$2,100. The spreadsheet, $267,495 differential. Text message patterns 247 versus 89. Email patterns, 0 personal emails in 4 years. Photo timeline participation, trophy party versus science fair silence. Spring break disparity, $8,000 versus $0. Car comparison, $15,000 versus bus pass. The final tally, color-coded. Closing statement, 2 children, 1 investment strategy. It's perfect, Morgan said quietly. It's devastating. Good. I coordinated with my allies. Aunt Linda would arrive early, save seats near the front. Uncle Tom would position himself near the AV equipment. The country club had a projector for slideshow presentations, typically used for anniversary photo montages. Claire thought I was bringing a photo tribute. She'd even texted, "So sweet of you to make something for Mom and Dad. They'll love it." I hadn't corrected her. Morgan would record everything. Her friend Alex, who I'd never met, but who Morgan swore was ride or die for justice, would be backup recording from a different angle. 2 camera angles, Morgan explained. If they try to claim you misrepresented anything, we'll have full documentation. You think they'll try to spin this? Jordan, they invoiced you for a graduation they didn't attend. Yes, they'll absolutely try to spin this. I practiced my speech 43 times over the next 2 weeks. Standing in my living room, laptop open to the presentation, speaking to an audience of empty chairs. "I want to talk about investments tonight." Some versions, I cried. Some versions, my voice shook. By version 30, I could deliver it without breaking. By version 40, I sounded powerful. The night before the party, I couldn't sleep. Lay in bed staring at the ceiling, running through worst-case scenarios. They'd deny everything. Call me a liar. Turn the family against me. But I had evidence. Numbers don't lie. And I had witnesses ready to back me up. At 3 a.m., Dad texted, "Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow." It's been too long. I stared at that text. Too long, like the distance was geographic, not emotional. I didn't respond. Turned off my phone. Tried to sleep. Tomorrow, they'd see exactly how long it had been. The days before the party passed in surreal slow motion. Mom called Wednesday. "Just me," I said. "Oh, well, that's fine. We're so excited to see you." It's been ages. Ages. 6 weeks since graduation. 6 weeks since the invoice. "Looking forward to it," I lied. Thursday, Claire texted photos of the country club setup. Doesn't it look amazing? Mom's going to cry when she sees the centerpieces. White tablecloths, gold accents, a head table for Mom and Dad with 30 years, spelled out in elegant script. I replied, beautiful. Friday morning, Morgan texted, you ready? Me. No. But I'm doing it anyway. Morgan. That's called courage. I'll be there at 5. We've got you. Saturday arrived with brutal sunshine. I woke at 7. Couldn't eat breakfast. Tried on 4 different outfits before settling on simple black pants and a white blouse. Professional. Serious. Not celebratory. I packed the evidence into my car at noon. 3 folders, printed presentation, backup, USB drive with the slideshow, my laptop as redundancy. Nothing could go wrong, technically. This was too important. At 2 p.m., Uncle Tom called. Jordan, you sure about this? I'm sure. Once you do this, the family will never be the same. The family was never what I thought it was, Uncle Tom. I'm just making everyone else see it. Silence. Then, I'll be in the 3rd row, and I'm proud of you. My throat tightened. Thank you. I arrived at the country club at 5:45 p.m., 15 minutes early. The parking lot was already half full. Luxury cars, SUVs, Mom's silver Lexus prominently displayed near the entrance. My hands shook as I gathered the folders from my passenger seat. Morgan pulled in next to me, got out, walked around, opened my door. You look terrified, she said gently. I am terrified. Good. That means it matters. She held out her hand. Come on. Let's go rewrite history. The country club ballroom was elegant. High ceilings, crystal chandeliers, round tables with white linens and gold chargers. A small stage at the front, with a microphone and projector screen. Perfect. Guests were arriving, clustering near the bar, greeting each other. I recognized faces, cousins, family, friends, Dad's law partners. 82 people. I counted. 82 witnesses. Aunt Linda waved from a table near the front. She'd saved seats me, Morgan, Alex, and 1 empty chair. Uncle Tom sat 2 tables over, nodding at me. Claire floated through the room in a champagne-colored dress, directing caterers, adjusting centerpieces. She saw me and rushed over. Jordan, you made it. Do you have the photo presentation? I'll let the AV guy know when to cue it up. I held up the USB drive. All set. Perfect. Mom and Dad are going to love this. You're so sweet for putting it together. She hugged me. I hugged back stiffly. She had no idea. At 6:15, Mom and Dad arrived to applause. Mom wore a navy cocktail dress, Dad a suit. They looked happy, proud, loved. They worked the room. Greeting guests. Accepting congratulations. Dad's hand on Mom's back. Mom's practiced smile. When they reached my table, Mom's smile brightened. Jordan, you look lovely. Thank you so much for coming. Dad kissed my cheek. And for the presentation, Claire mentioned. Very thoughtful. Of course, I said evenly. I wanted to make sure everyone saw the whole picture. They moved on. Dinner was served at 6:45. Salads, then chicken, polite conversation buzzing around me. I couldn't eat. Moved food around my plate. Morgan squeezed my hand under the table. At 7:30, the country club manager approached the microphone. We have a special presentation this evening. Jordan Matthews has prepared a tribute to her parents. Jordan? The room applauded politely. I stood, walked to the front, plugged in the USB drive. The screen illuminated behind me, the Matthews family investment portfolio. Confused murmurs rippled through the room. I gripped the microphone. And I began. I stand at the microphone. 82 people look at me. Waiting. Thank you all for coming tonight, I say. My voice is steady, practiced. I want to talk about investments, specifically, how our parents invested in their children. Mom smiles, thinking this is going somewhere sweet. I click to the next slide. Side-by-side baby photos. Me and Claire. swaddled and innocent. We started the same, I say. 2 kids. Equal potential. But somewhere along the way, investment strategies diverged. Click. The screen fills with numbers. Claire's wedding expenses. Line items cascade down. Venue $45,000. Catering $28,500. Dress $8,400. Flowers $12,000. Photography $9,500. Band $7,800. The room goes quiet. Our parents invested $185,000 in Claire's wedding, I say. Each word deliberate, paid in full, gifted with love. Claire's face drains of color. Dad stands halfway up. Mom's smile freezes. Please sit down, I say calmly. I'm not finished. Click. New slide. Jordan's graduation expenses. The invoice. Enlarged. Every line item visible to 82 people. Parking $45. Dinner reservation $950. Gift $350. Hotel $755. Total due $2,100. Gasps ripple through the room. I received this 3 days after graduating debt-free, I say. Debt-free because I worked 50-hour weeks. Because I wrote scholarship applications at midnight. Because I did it alone. I pause. Let that sink in. This invoice is for my graduation. A graduation they didn't attend. Aunt Linda puts her hand over her mouth. Uncle Tom's face hardens. Dad stands fully now. Jordan. This is taken out of context. The context is math, Dad. I click again. The spreadsheet appears. 6 feet tall on the screen. 2 columns. Claire. $266,600. Jordan. Negative $895. Differential. $267,495. Someone whispers, "Oh my God." 2 children, I say. 1 investment strategy. For 18 months, I watched our family's resources pour into one child's single day while I worked 2 jobs to survive college. Mom stands now. Honey, you're making this seem... I have documentation. I hold up a folder. Bank statements, receipts, emails. 18 months of receipts for Claire's wedding. And this, I pull out the invoice, 3 days after my graduation. I walk to the nearest table. Place copies in front of Dad's law partner. Anyone who wants to verify can look. The partner picks it up, reads. His expression shifts from confused to horrified. Jordan, stop this right now, Dad says, his lawyer voice, commanding. I will not stop, I say. Because you never stopped. You didn't stop favoring Claire when I made Dean's List. You didn't stop when I graduated debt-free. You didn't stop when you invoiced me for a graduation you chose not to attend. Click. Text message screenshots. Mom's 247 texts about Claire's wedding planning. Mom's 89 texts about my entire life. 247 texts about wedding centerpieces, I say. 89 texts about my 4 years of college. The math speaks for itself. Claire is crying now. I didn't know, I never asked for. I know you didn't, Claire. My voice softens slightly. This isn't about you. It's about them. I turn back to my parents. You gave her a car. You gave me a bus pass. You gave her spring breaks in Cancun. I worked double shifts. You gave her an $85,000 wedding. You gave me a $2,100 bill. We sacrificed everything for you kids, Mom starts. No. The word cuts through the room. You sacrificed everything for one kid. I was the witness to her childhood. Click. Photo timeline. Claire's participation trophy party. 40 kids at Chuck E. Cheese. My science fair win. Solo Applebee's gift card. Claire's sweet 16 with the car reveal. My 16th birthday with the bus schedule. Claire's college acceptance to community college, celebrated at Carmine's. My full-ride scholarship to a top 30 university. Applebee's with a coupon that never happened. The room is silent now. 82 people watching my parents' faces crumble in real time. Uncle Tom stands. Is this true? He looks at Dad. You billed Jordan for her graduation? Dad's mouth opens, closes. We spent nearly $200,000 on Claire's wedding. We thought it was fair. Fair? Uncle Tom's voice rises. Billing your child for attending her graduation is fair? Other voices join in. Aunt Linda, Dad's colleague, someone from Mom's book club. How could you do this? I had no idea the disparity was this extreme. Susan, you told me Jordan preferred to be independent. Mom's face is red. She turns to me. You're destroying this family. This is our anniversary. I'm not destroying anything, I say. I'm revealing what you built. Final click. Last slide. A photo of me at graduation. Alone. Degree in hand. 4 empty chairs behind me with programs untouched. Text below. I graduated debt-free. I built my career alone. I survived without investment. But you'll never attend another milestone of mine, free or otherwise. I pull the USB drive from the laptop. Congratulations on 30 years, I say into the microphone. I hope it was worth the cost. I hand the microphone to the stunned country club manager. Walk toward the exit. Morgan and Alex flank me immediately. Uncle Tom stands, follows, Aunt Linda. Behind me, chaos erupts. People arguing. Claire sobbing. Mom's voice rising, desperate. She's lying. She's exaggerating. But Uncle Tom's voice carries over hers. I just read the invoice, Susan. She's not lying. I don't look back. Push through the doors into the cool evening air. 82 witnesses. 2 camera angles. 0 room for denial. The truth doesn't need me to defend it anymore. That night, my phone exploded. 53 missed calls by midnight. Voicemails I didn't listen to. Text messages flooding in faster than I could read them. Claire, I'm so sorry I didn't know. Please call me. Dad. You've humiliated us. Do not contact us again. Mom. Aunt Linda. So proud of you. You did the right thing. Cousins I hadn't spoken to in years. Holy shit, Jordan. We had no idea. Morgan stayed at my apartment. Made tea I didn't drink. Sat with me while I turned off my phone and cried from exhaustion and relief in equal measure. You did it, she said quietly. 82 witnesses. They can't rewrite this. By morning, I'd made one decision. I called Rebecca Chen. I need a restraining order. My parents showed up at my apartment at 6 a.m., banging on the door. I'll file today, she said immediately. First legal action, taken. Rebecca filed the restraining order petition on Monday morning. Based on the harassment pattern, financial abuse documentation, and the incident at your apartment, we have strong grounds, she explained in her office. The hearing is set for 3 weeks out. 3 weeks felt like an eternity. In that time, my parents tried everything. Dad sent emails first, demanding I retract my lies publicly, then threatening legal action for defamation, finally attempting negotiation. If you apologize and remove any videos or photos from circulation, we'll forgive this incident. Forgive me. For telling the truth, I forwarded every email to Rebecca. Mom tried a different approach, crying voicemails about how I'd destroyed the family and humiliated them in front of everyone who matters. Text messages about how she'd sacrificed everything for me and Claire. The word sacrifice appeared 14 times across her messages. The word sorry appeared 0 times. I saved everything. Documentation for the restraining order hearing. The hearing took place on a Thursday morning in family court. I sat with Rebecca at one table. My parents sat with their attorney, a stern woman in her 50s, named Patricia Aldridge, at another table, 15 feet away. We didn't make eye contact. Judge Morrison reviewed the evidence first. The graduation invoice. The text messages. The presentation from the anniversary party. Statements from Aunt Linda and Uncle Tom corroborating the pattern of financial discrimination and emotional manipulation. My parents' attorney argued I was a disgruntled adult child seeking attention, and that parental favoritism, while unfortunate, doesn't constitute grounds for a restraining order. Rebecca countered with documentation of their 6 a.m. apartment visit, 27 harassing messages in 3 days, and Dad's threatening emails. Your Honor, Rebecca said calmly, this isn't about parental favoritism. It's about a documented pattern of financial abuse, followed by harassment when the victim exposed that abuse publicly. Miss Matthews has a right to safety from her abusers. Judge Morrison asked me directly. Miss Matthews, what outcome are you seeking? Distance, I said. My voice was steady. I want them to stop contacting me. I want legal protection if they violate that boundary. I don't want their money. I don't want an apology they'll never mean. I just want them to leave me alone. The judge nodded slowly. Made notes. Looked at my parents. Mr. and Mrs. Matthews, do you have anything to say? Dad stood. Your Honor, our daughter is misrepresenting. I've read the invoice you sent her, Judge Morrison interrupted. I've seen the wedding receipts. I've reviewed the financial documentation. While you had the legal right to spend your money as you saw fit, billing your daughter for graduation expenses after choosing not to attend demonstrates, at minimum, profoundly poor judgment. Mom started crying, quietly, into a tissue. The judge continued. Furthermore, the harassment following her public disclosure crosses into concerning territory. This court will grant a restraining order 12 months, 500 feet minimum distance, no contact, direct or indirect. The gavel came down. Restraining order granted. My hands shook. Rebecca squeezed my shoulder. My parents were escorted out first. Dad's face was red. Mom wouldn't look at me. In the hallway, their attorney approached Rebecca. Our clients want to discuss settlement. Civil matter. Settlement of what? Rebecca asked coolly. They have no grounds to sue. Not them suing her. Them offering compensation to resolve this privately. I stared. They want to pay me to be quiet? Patricia looked uncomfortable. They're willing to discuss a financial arrangement in exchange for non-disparagement. How much? Rebecca asked. $50,000. The number hung in the air. $50,000. To never talk about this again. To let them rewrite the story. No, I said immediately. Patricia blinked. You should take time to consider. No. The answer is no. I don't want their money. I want them to leave me alone, which the court just ordered. We're done here. Rebecca smiled grimly. You heard my client. We walked away. Family aftermath. The family split happened within weeks. Parents sighed, 5 people. Mom's sister Cheryl. You embarrassed them publicly, Jordan. That's unforgivable. Dad's brother Rick. Family business stays in the family. 3 cousins who'd always been close to Claire. My side, 11 plus people. Aunt Linda, I should have said something years ago. I'm sorry I didn't. Uncle Tom, your father and I aren't speaking. I told him what he did was reprehensible. Grandma Matthews, I didn't raise my son to treat his child like a business transaction. 8 cousins, mostly younger generation. Claire, tentatively. Claire reached out 6 weeks after the anniversary party, asked to meet for coffee. I'm so sorry, she said immediately, tears already falling. I knew they favored me, but I didn't realize the extent. I didn't know about the invoice. I didn't know you'd paid for everything yourself while they paid for everything for me. You were a kid too, I said carefully. They created this dynamic. You benefited from it, but you didn't create it. I feel so guilty. Then do something about it. I met her eyes. Go to therapy. Examine your privilege. Don't let them convince you I'm the villain here. I won't. I promise. We're rebuilding. Slowly. Separate from our parents entirely. Thanksgiving approached, the first major holiday since the confrontation. Mom sent a group text to the family. Thanksgiving at our house. 2 p.m. Everyone welcome. Aunt Linda replied to the thread. I'm hosting alternative Thanksgiving, 1 p.m. Everyone actually welcome. 22 people came to Linda's house, including Claire. 5 people went to my parents' house. Christmas was similar. Mom and Dad sent cards to everyone with their version of events. We're heartbroken that our daughter chose to air private family matters publicly. But the receipts were already circulating. People had seen the presentation, had copies of the invoice. You can't gaslight 82 witnesses. Social consequences for my parents. Country club membership. They resigned quietly after member concerns. Mom's book club, disbanded, too awkward. Dad's law firm. No formal consequences, but 3 colleagues distanced themselves. Church community, whispers, side eyes. Several friends stopped calling. Family reputation, destroyed among anyone who'd seen the evidence. They blamed me publicly to anyone who'd listen. Our ungrateful daughter humiliated us. But most people who mattered had seen the math. And math doesn't lie. By the following spring, the family structure had completely reformed. Monthly dinners at Aunt Linda's house. Uncle Tom's birthday became a chosen family celebration. Grandma Matthews started a group text called Team Truth, with everyone on my side. I'd lost my parents, but I'd gained a family who actually saw me. It's been 3 years since that anniversary party. 3 years since I stood in front of 82 witnesses and showed them the math of my childhood. Some days, it still feels surreal. Financial recovery came first. The Venmo request $2,100 for graduation expenses expired unpaid. Dad never pursued it legally, he couldn't. Rebecca had been right. You can't invoice someone for expenses they never agreed to repay. I took that $2,100 and put it in savings instead. By the end of the first year, I had $6,000 saved. By year 2, $12,000. Now, 3 years later, I have an actual emergency fund, 6 months of expenses sitting in high-yield savings. Something I never had before. I bought a condo last spring. Small, studio, nothing fancy. But it's mine. $185,000, the exact amount they spent on Claire's wedding. The irony wasn't lost on me. When I signed the closing papers, Aunt Linda was there. Uncle Tom. Morgan. My chosen family, witnessing my milestone. The mortgage is in my name only. No co-signers, no help. I did this alone. And it feels like victory. Career success followed. I was promoted 8 months after the confrontation, senior software engineer, $128,000 salary. My manager said I demonstrated leadership and resilience. I didn't tell her about the anniversary party. But I think the confidence I'd gained from finally standing up for myself translated into my work. I led a product launch last quarter, got featured in the company newsletter, started mentoring a junior developer, a 23-year-old, who reminds me of myself at that age. Brilliant but convinced she has to prove her worth every single day. You're already worthy, I told her once. The proving is just for your own satisfaction now. She looked at me like I'd given her permission to breathe. I know that feeling. Relationships slowly rebuilt. Claire and I have dinner once a month. She's in therapy, working through her own guilt about being the golden child. We don't talk about our parents. Do you think they'll ever apologize? She asked once. No, I said honestly. Because that would require them to admit they were wrong, and they've spent 3 years doubling down instead. She nodded sadly. I invited them to my 2nd anniversary dinner. They asked if you'd be there. When I said yes, they declined. I'm sorry. Don't be. I'm choosing you now. I should have chosen you years ago. Uncle Tom walks me through life decisions now, the father figure I needed. Called him when I was negotiating my salary. When I was buying the condo. When I had a bad therapy session and needed someone to remind me I wasn't broken. You're the strongest person I know, he said once, and I'm sorry my brother couldn't see that. Aunt Linda hosts monthly dinners. Grandma Matthews comes, makes her famous pot roast, tells stories about when Dad was young and hadn't turned into whatever he is now. Morgan is still my person, the sister I chose. She was in the room when I got my promotion, when I closed on the condo, when I had my first panic attack about family dynamics and thought I was losing my mind. You're not losing your mind, she said firmly. You're processing trauma. There's a difference. Therapy helped. 18 months of weekly sessions with Dr. Patel, specializing in family estrangement and complex trauma. You were parentified, she explained early on. Forced to be the responsible one while your sister got to be the child. That's a form of emotional abuse. Hearing a professional name, it changed something. I wasn't too sensitive. I wasn't overdramatic. I was responding rationally to irrational treatment. We worked on self-worth, on letting people help me, on accepting that I deserved love without earning it through achievement. I still struggle with that last one. But I'm better than I was. Current relationship status with my parents: none. We haven't spoken in 3 years. The restraining order expired after 12 months, but the no contact remains by mutual choice. They don't reach out. I don't reach out. I heard through Claire that they tell people I cut them off for no reason and turned the family against them. But everyone who matters knows the truth. I saw Mom once, accidentally, at a grocery store 18 months ago. We made eye contact across the produce section. She looked older, tired. I turned around and left. Felt guilty for 30 seconds, then remembered the invoice. The guilt disappeared. Looking forward now. I'm dating someone, met him through work 8 months ago. He knows the whole story. I showed him the spreadsheet on our 4th date, terrified he'd think I was damaged. You're not damaged, he said. You're a survivor. There's a difference. He came to Uncle Tom's birthday last month. Fit right in with my chosen family. Grandma Matthews interrogated him about his intentions. He passed. Your family is wonderful, he said afterward. My chosen family is wonderful, I corrected. There's a difference. I still have hard days. Holidays are complicated. Mother's Day, Father's Day. Seeing other people's families on social media, healthy and whole. But most days, I'm okay. Most days, I'm more than okay. I graduated debt-free. I bought a home. I built a career. I found family who chose me back. My parents attended my graduation for 0 minutes and sent a bill. I've spent 3 years building a life they're not invited to witness. And that feels like the best revenge of all. Not revenge. Actually, justice. Sometimes family isn't about who raised you. It's about who shows up. My parents showed me a spreadsheet's worth of favoritism disguised as love. They showed me that some people will invoice you for their presence or their absence. But I showed myself something more important. I showed myself I could survive without their validation. That I could build a life worth living without their investment. If you're living in someone's shadow while they spotlight someone else, document it. Name it. And when you're ready, walk into your own light. The people who truly love you will follow. The rest will send invoices. And you don't have to pay them anymore. This is Achiever Betrayed, where we tell the stories of people who succeeded despite being undermined by those who should have supported them most.